Appreciation means taking the time to be in the moment where you conspicuously recognize someone's quality in a way that celebrates them. While there are many professions worthy of recognition, there is one profession that touches the lives of most families, and that is the role of teacher, educator. So who do we credit with establishing Teacher Appreciation Week? An educator by the name of Maddie White Woodbridge, who taught in the segregated South, wanted to find a way to recognize the contribution of teachers working to make a difference in the world. It's reported that she was so fervent in her request that she wrote to every sitting governor. By 1944, one of her letters landed on the desk of First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, and by 1953, the First Lady had successfully convinced Congress to proclaim Teachers' Day, which is now celebrated on the second Tuesday in May each year. The National Education Association would later establish Teacher Appreciation Week in 1985 in recognition of the bold, talented, and creative geniuses credited with awakening our imaginations, encouraging us to soar, and even coming into our living rooms after the advent of COVID-19. Not only do teachers dedicate their time long after the last bell is rung, they also use their resources to make sure students have what they need. According to the Economic Policy Institute, teachers in high poverty areas will spend over $500 annually on school supplies. That's right, not just one year, but each year. Perhaps that's why a recent survey reported 79% of students were encouraged by their teachers to follow their dreams, a skill needed when possibility and reality collide. The teacher also challenges our thinking, creating out-of-the-box opportunities for learning and growing, and it is only fitting that we celebrate educators who embody innovation, creativity, passion, and genuine concern for their students. Let's meet Felizia Millerton, Samson Beyer, and Edna Johnson. Just the tip of the iceberg of great educators making a difference in their community. Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome everyone to another episode of Tabernacle Talks. And today I am so excited to have teachers extraordinaire. And of course, customarily, I have questions, tons of questions. And I'd like to welcome our guests today, Sam Beyer, Edna Johnson, and Felizia Millerton. Welcome to Tabernacle Talks. Oh, they're all smiling now. I have tons of questions. Actually, this is Teacher Appreciation Week. And I can't say enough. It probably should be for a whole month, but we're glad that teachers are being recognized for a week. And if each of you just mind sharing what excites you about teaching. I'll start with you, Sam, if you want to start.
Yeah, sure. Teaching excites me because every day is a new day. You never know whatever happened the day before. In my mind is kind of gone. So coming into the next day, you just never know what's going to face you. It's kind of a fresh day, a restart for the students and myself. I like seeing how the students gain new academic knowledge, and just, it's just neat to watch them grow from middle school to high school. They walk in, they're 6 inches shorter than you, and by the time they graduate, they're 3 inches taller than you. So it's just neat to watch the transformation occur.
Well, Felizia, I guess I'll start follow with you, and then Edna, if you want to follow up after Felizia, that'd be cool.
All right, I have a couple notes, but teaching excites me because it allows me to provide a safe space for my students to learn. I take pride in pouring into my students. I take pride in being transparent with them because everything is not easy. Everything is not, oh, well, she has a degree, so it was easy. Absolutely not. So I try to be as transparent with my students as possible. And I enjoy showing them that despite the obstacles or what it looks like, that with hard work and dedication, you can make it happen. Like, you can accomplish it It doesn't matter if you come from money, not from money, if your parents can pay for school, if they can't pay for school, it is possible. So if they work hard and they use their resources, it's possible.
Edna?
I was going to say that, of course, Mr. Byer and Mrs. Millerton answered my question, or the question, in a combination of what I was going to answer. Most importantly to me, what excites me is the students. And what keeps me excited is that when I'm like teaching something, and if we're, doing an activity, I love hearing like them talk about getting it. It's like you can see the light bulbs, and then like their eyes, or, it's like that moment they get it. That's what excites me. And that's what keeps me wanting to, keep doing it. So yeah, I guess the thing about teaching that excites me is like the students' like passion when they actually get something.
Thank you for sharing that. I think everybody has an aha moment in their career where there's just something that's unforgettable. Do each of you mind sharing, or if you have this, what's that most rewarding moment in teaching for you, if you don't mind sharing?
Would you like us to go in the same order, or I could
just however you want to go? It's fine.
Okay, so for me, I love when I get the emails from former students or the visits from former students. It just kind of validates, or like makes me feel like, oh, I am making a difference. And that's what I really, really enjoy, is I guess the follow-up, if that makes sense, like seeing your hard work pays off.
Sam, we'll go with you, Sam.
Sure, I think so many. I mean, like, where do I start? But just, I had a student a few years ago who really struggled with interacting with the general education population, and over time worked through that to see her integrate into that, and then transition through high school, and then get ready to step into the college aspect of things. The conflict, the back and forth about, well, I want to go to this particular college, but I don't know if I am good enough. So I encouraged her to go check out the college and audition. And I said, well, let's stop for a minute and think about this. Let's just talk about this. What are you going to lose if you don't go audition, other than a little bit of time and gas money to go audition, right? She said, you're right. I said, well, then if there's any part of you that's going to look back and say, I wish I would have, go. So she did. And she come back and she opened up her folder and she got like a $60,000 scholarship.
Wow.
And then she went back later to audition for a choir. She was good at choir. And she come back a couple weeks later and she opened up this folder and she had $125,000 scholarship. It was in the choir program at this particular university. And I stopped and I said, do you see what just happened there? I said, if you would not have pushed yourself and at least tried it, you wouldn't have that folder in your hand. So just seeing students walk through that is really amazing. Just watching them grow, not only academically is very important, but just personally themselves grow into young adults is wonderful to see.
Yeah, Mr. Byer, you made me think of, I thought, okay, well, I didn't give an anecdote because but I had one like written. It was, I should start looking at my notes, but but I had a former student. She was going to college and she was going to major in architecture, and she was super excited about it. And when she got there, she emailed me maybe in the second semester. She says, Profe, I just want to let you know that I changed my major and I'm going to teach Spanish because of you. And I said, what? And she says, yeah, I just, thought about it. And I was just, thinking that, I think I want to, teach Spanish. And she said, and you made me, want to do that. And so I was like, oh, that's so cool.
Oh my gosh.
And I would say for me is when previous students come back and they share the things that they're doing now, or they just call you for advice. Because they trust you. So I really, really appreciate that. And that lets me know that I'm doing something right. When they continue to reach out, they're adults with children, And when they reach back to me, that just makes me feel great. And especially when I know where they come from, and that I have a few students that never finished high school, but I was still in contact with them. And then they'll contact me back like, hey, Ms. Millerton, I'm going to get my GED, or I'm working on it, or I'm almost done. That makes me feel great that they didn't give up. You know, it's not a race. Everybody does things in their own time. So it's okay if, you know, you don't finish when everybody else finished. It's just that you finished. Right. So those things were important to me. And just seeing students who struggled reading when we first got them, and then now they're reading. Now they're going to college. Or students that, like Mr. Byers stated, that struggled in social settings. You know, it's huge when, you know, you have to go to a student's classroom because they can't deal with being in a social setting. And then now they're graduating from high school, walking by themselves. That was like huge. They're like, oh my gosh, I think this student's going to need support. We like, nah, they got it. They won't need no help. And, you know, it just makes me feel great. That makes me like smile on the inside when we see our students overcome these different challenges.
I can certainly relate to that. I've taught at the graduate level, and I remember one of the students was really, really struggling. And, you know, he was to the point where he thought he was going to give up. And I just said, you can't give up. I said, never take a zero. I just kept thinking of all these things I could tell him. I'm like, I don't care if that assignment, if you get 54 points, that's better than a zero. Yes, I said, give it your best effort. And when I saw him come across that stage at commencement, he just looked at me and his eyes just welled up with tears because he remembered that. He said, I didn't take any more zeros after that. And I'll never forget that, because I do think the little tricks and the tips that you give people, they'll carry that for a lifetime. And I mean, you've been so impactful, and I know that. Okay, so how do you stay motivated? Because I know teaching and being an educator is not glamorous. You know, we like to glamorize jobs and professions, but we know that there are challenges in every career. So how do you stay motivated, and how do you motivate your peers? Whoever wants to jump in first, it's fine.
I'll jump in there. So I'm motivated by the goals that my students have. That really, really helps motivate me, because then I can motivate them and help them achieve that goal. So I'm constantly motivated, like, oh, you want to go to this school? Okay, great. Oh, you want to start your own business? So it's like, it kind of makes it my own little personal goal to help them achieve those goals. It's like they have a goal, but I have a small goal to help them achieve. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but it makes me have a goal also, because my goal is to help them achieve it.
Exactly.
So that's like, so that's one. And then I don't know if you know, but Mr. Byer and I, we work very closely together. So like, we feed off of each other. We know when one needs that motivator or one needs that So he's my motivator. He really is. And I tell him sometimes, and sometimes I have to tell him, like, Byron, you got it. Like, why are you tripping? You got it. You're a great educator. So I think with that, we see what our students need. We build on top of that, and we try to learn things. And I'll bounce back. COVID made me have to do things that I never expected I was going to have to do.
Yeah.
So I knew coming into this school year that I was going to have to do something different. It wasn't going to look the same like it was before. And I knew the challenges that some of my students had. I had students that weren't tech savvy. So during the summer, I would stay up all hours of the night trying to learn off of YouTube videos.
Yep.
And then I signed up for tons of PD, that probably more than I've ever signed up in my life. But I took so much PD last year just because I wanted to be prepared for them. I wanted them to be engaged and not just sitting there watching me talk on a computer screen.
Right.
So
wow,
it that just motivated me. It made me come outside of my box and my comfort zone. So I have a lot of more tools in my toolbox that I'm excited about. And I just, I share them with my peers. So I think that helps motivate them also.
Yes,
excellent.
Definitely. Yeah. When you mentioned COVID, I just kind of was like, oh boy, yeah. We all had to stay motivated during that for sure. And yeah, I found myself up at all night watching videos, YouTube videos. But at the same time, it was a challenge. And I like challenges. I like to challenge myself. And you know, I did rise to that occasion. I wanted to find out whatever I could find out. How could I, instead of just having them, like she said, talk to me or listen to me, talk to them at a computer screen, how can I engage them? And with the Spanish, or I guess I should say foreign language, it was difficult to try to find some things that could keep them motivated and, you know, make sure that they were participating. But the question I know was, you know, of course, what keeps us motivated as educators? So my answer that I had written down prior to the interview was that personally, I don't need a lot of motivation. Like intrinsically, I just have a lot of motivation for teaching. Like I've always wanted to teach since I was a little girl. My siblings could tell you stories about how I used to keep them in the attic. It used to be so hot in the attic. And during the summer, I would make them play school with me. So at the end of every school year, I would ask my teachers, can I have your dittos? Because back then, that's what they called them, the dittos. And had the little purple smudge that would get all over your fingertips from the copier machine, you know. And I would take everybody's, you know, oh, dittos, and I would take home math worksheets, reading worksheets, English worksheets, whatever my teachers were throwing out. And then I would have my siblings sit upstairs and they were my students. And every summer we would play school. And I just knew that's what I wanted to do. So it doesn't take a lot to motivate me to keep going in because I just love teaching. But I can definitely say my coworkers do help keep me motivated when it's that, I guess, the outside of the classroom pressure, the OTEs and the, you know, the COVID and, you know, when things are happening that you don't expect. So yeah, coworkers are very good to help you stay motivated when it's like hard and you want to kind of give up. But I definitely don't need a lot of motivation to keep coming into the classroom. My kids are phenomenal and they keep me motivated.
Sam, I guess.
Yeah, to piggyback on that too, I agree. Coworkers are huge. I know, like Miss Millerton said, we work very closely together, and you know, she's been just a great teammate and a team member, and she's been a huge support to me. But you know, personally, what keeps me motivated, honestly, is my faith. I just see purpose in every kid, regardless of where they come from or what they're dealing with or what they're struggling with. You know, I see them as all being created by the same creator, and there's a divine purpose that they have, and it's just I try to help them find what that is.
Powerful.
And that's what motivates me.
So what advice would you give someone who's interested in entering the field of education? So I'm sure there's somebody out there watching thinking, wow, wow, and wow.
I personally, when I first started teaching, I wasted so much time trying to, I guess, mimic some of the other teachers. Like I felt like I had to be like everybody else, you know, and I wish that I would have told myself that just be yourself. Like, you know, your class is going to, you know, appreciate you for who you are. And I would just kind of keep comparing myself to other teachers, you know, am I doing, you know, what enough, or am I like this teacher? I would hear things about this teacher and I would think, oh, I need to do that too. And then when I would try to do those things, it wasn't me. So it made me feel so uncomfortable. And so those kids, they can feel that, you know, that energy in your classroom would shift. So I would say just be yourself and choose and plan activities that align to your spirit, to your personality, because then the kids will they will feel your authenticity, you know, that you're authentic to who you are, and you'll be more passionate about the lesson that you're teaching. You know, a lot of times, like I said, when you're first starting out, you're like scared. And so you're thinking, okay, I better do what everybody else is doing. But then it doesn't come off as natural. And I just felt like that first year or two, I didn't feel like I was pushing my own stuff, you know. So that would be something I would tell someone who's thinking about teaching. If you want to teach, be confident in yourself and just kind of align your activities and your, I guess, your goals and things to who you are. It makes you feel better.
Powerful. Let's see, Sam, let's swing at that one.
I would say, yeah, I would say, you know, I agree with what Edna says about following what flows with you and your personality, because it just the execution of your lesson and teaching is smoother. But I would say, obviously, passion, clearly. Be patient, reflect daily, reflect on yourself, reflect on your practices, and look at what went well, what didn't go well. And, you know, the kids are going to catch you when you make mistakes. So just laugh at yourself. I mean, it happens. And that took me a while to realize I'm a perfect person. Wait a minute, I'm not. You know, I had a student the other day. He's like, Byron, you know everything. I'm like, no, hold on. I appreciate the comment, but I don't know everything. So that's just, but I don't know. You know everything. No, I don't. So just laugh at yourself. Be willing to, you know, continue to strive better. And like I said, reflection is huge for me.
Yep.
Yep. And to add on to what Edna and Sam said, I would tell them to be knowledgeable of the community you serve.
Yes.
That is huge. And don't be afraid to apologize to your students. We make mistakes, we do things, and it's okay. But it's okay to acknowledge them that you've actually made this mistake or that you did something wrong. So I think that's huge. Always show forgiveness. I tell my students all the time, it's a new day. He's like, but you know, I made you mad. It's a new day.
That's right.
Like I don't hold no grudges against no kids. It is a new day. So just that, and just have fun with your kids. Let them know that you can have fun. Don't be like super uptight. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to, you know, just share with them life experiences, because they'll learn from them also. And they listen. They might not act like they're listening, but they listen and they pay attention. And again, they know when you're being authentic. They know when you care about them, like genuinely care about them, and you want to get to know them.
That's right.
I think that's important.
Well, I want to say to all of you, I know from direct experience that you are all exceptional educators. You're exceptional people, and you are changing lives. And I just want to, from the bottom of my heart, pay this tribute to you this week for Teacher Appreciation Week, because you don't approach this like it's a job. You approach this like this is your life calling, and it shows and it tells. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank all of you for coming on the show today and just sharing your passion. And hopefully someone out in that audience that's interested in being an educator, trust me, these three are the real deal. Thanks for coming on Tabernacle Talks.
Thank you for having us, Dr. Mobley. And if you are thinking about going into teaching, do it. You will not regret it.
No, it's rewarding for sure.
Very.